Hello, everyone. We've made it to another Friday. In fact, it's the last Friday of Q1 of 2021. So I'm so grateful that you've taken some time to listen to our 3-minute mashup. In this 3-minute mashup, oh my goodness, I feel like we cover so many very motivational and kind of address it topics that agency owners just have to get to. We talk about Mondays. Monday is my favorite day of the week, but in agencies, it's like, oh, it's a Monday. It's a Monday. And I just can't subscribe to that mentality. It's kind of like walking around saying we're busy all the time. I really kind of feel like we have to get out of that mentality. Mondays can be the greatest day of the week. They don't have to be a curse. Then we talk about Karens. For anybody who don't know, Karen's that kind of code word for the know-it-all, the bossy, the very entitled person. And if you have a Karen in your office, I want you to think about how much time you're spending managing Karen or managing around Karen because you don't want to upset her or insult her. And we've covered that in this video. Then it's all at once. This is a comment and a question I get from account managers all the time. When all the work is coming in all at once, what do we do? How do we prioritize? And mostly, how do we not freak out? And then we end with, what do account managers want? So, how do we treat them? How do we make them happy? How do we really drive down to what they truly want at the end of the day? So we're going to cover all these topics and more the last Friday of Q1. Let's end it strong. And without further ado, let's hop into the first video. Mondays. So if you work out, there's always this theory of never miss a Monday. Monday sets the tone for your week. And I'm reading a new book on sales that talks a lot about how you structure your Monday, structures your success. But in insurance, it's like, we can't do that. It's a Monday. It's a Monday, it's a Monday, it's a Monday. And I'm going to call BS on Mondays in this video because I don't think that it's as bad as we're making it out to be. Yes, it's a little bit more chaotic, but who cares? We come in rested, we get ready to put our head down and rock and roll. But so often we freak out about Mondays, and it might be time to reformat our thinking on it. I love coming to agencies on a Monday because I feel like it's a fresh start and it's an opportunity. But so many people put up the blocks. So let's go ahead and talk more about Mondays and how to convert them from the worst to the best day of our insurance week. So happy Monday, everybody. Yes, I want to say it. Happy Monday. Everywhere we go in insurance, we always hear the same thing. Mondays are the worst. Mondays are so hard. We never can do anything on a Monday. And I want to say, I think Mondays get a really bad rap, to be honest with you. For so many people, in so many ways, we automatically assume Monday is going to be terrible. But I've been reading a great book on sales that talks about how Monday sets the pace for your week. And I strongly and firmly agree with this statement. Anytime that you're dreading coming in on a Monday, you got to think about it. What's so horrible? First of all, we have a job to come into. Second of all, we just got charged up from 2 days of rest. And now it's time to get back after it. In addition, yes, Mondays may present more mail, a bigger download, some claims calling in. But it's not the worst day, and we still get through it every single day. A lot of it is in our heads, and we need to take some time to get it out from our eardrums. Because oftentimes, I actually want to be at an agency on a Monday. Because if it's the busiest day of the week, let's go after it and see what's going on. The bottom line is, loving or hating Mondays is a choice. Monday actually tends to be one of my favorite days. One, because no agencies want to meet with us on a Monday, none. I know I've got some meetings today, of course, but I feel recharged, fresh, and ready to tackle the week with a fresh set of initiatives. But I also understand that in insurance, if we keep running around talking about how terrible Mondays are, they're never going to get any better. In the sales book I'm reading, it talks a little bit about how you should never plan your week on a Monday, which means when you come into work on a Monday, it should already be outlined of what you're going to tackle. And I strongly agree with this, especially if you're a producer in sales or in a leadership role. You shouldn't be scrambling around on a Monday morning trying to figure it all out. He also states that you should try to do one of your favorite things on a Monday. So if you have something that you love about your job, do it on Monday morning. Got to eat the frog, of course, which is get your worst, most hardest, difficult task out of the way, but then reward yourself with something that you really like. Maybe it's calling out on renewal calls because people say thank you. Maybe it's quoting a piece of new business, get it off your desk. Maybe it's just sitting there and taking a half hour and going through your emails and your tasks to be organized. But make sure on Monday you have something that you're going to be passionate about to look forward to. And let's get over it, guys. Monday's not the worst. In fact, you can get your butt kicked just as hard on a Wednesday as you could on a Monday. But if you're coming in every Monday expecting the worst, great news. It's definitely gonna find you. So if you have a Karen in your office, this one will definitely resonate with you. A Karen is kind of a bossy, know-it-all, entitled. Things are gonna go her way or the highway. And in many agencies, there might be one of these hiding in the lurks, or maybe you've had one in the past. But we talk about, if you have a Karen in your office, your strategy to handle Karen. Because every business in America needs a way to handle a Karen, right? Unsure what a Karen is, just Google it. It's a certain persona type of a very bossy person. And I'll tell you what, in your agency, if you have one, you're spending so much time negotiating with Karen or negotiating with a terrorist that you're probably not getting much done. Watch our video on how to handle a Karen in your insurance agency. So this one, we're going to cross over some modern terminology into an age-old problem in insurance, which is, do you have a Karen at your insurance agency? A Karen is a modern term used to define somewhat of a bossy, know-it-all, argumentative person that you might employ in this situation. They definitely have strong opinions and have no problem sharing them. And a lot of times those opinions are quick judgments versus really understanding the problem. They don't always have empathy for other people, and they definitely believe they're always right. In my recent travels to agencies, we've come up with more and more Karens that agencies are working around, which is the problem. Working around a Karen simply won't work. It means that you're always trying to find a way to appease a Karen, and that's not a great strategy. Instead, what you want to be thinking about doing is to, first of all, hit the problem right square between the eyeballs. Address it, have the conversation, document it, and make sure people understand your values of working for this insurance agency, such as gossiping isn't a thing that we do here. We don't judge, we ask questions. Those are things that will help you have a backbone against going against a Karen. In addition to that, you can't negotiate with terrorists. And oftentimes Karen can be terrorists in your organization. They're constantly working behind the scenes, such as, did you know that we're doing sales training? Did you know that they called a meeting? I wonder what this meeting's about. And they're jumping to the worst case solution all the time and trying to band people together to work against you rather than for you. In my experience, you need to start with a firm and direct conversation to address the issue. From there, you need to document. And many times if you hold them accountable, they'll find another place to work because they're looking for oxygen for all of their arguments. And when they don't have as many followers or they're getting called out on it, it's no longer as fun for them anymore, and they will depart. But for many agency owners, they're scared of them departing because this person has worked there forever. They're an insurance encyclopedia. I'm here to tell you to let go of those worries. Like ripping a Band-Aid, there'll be some fallout and then the world will keep moving. The sun keeps coming up. So you have to decide, do you want to be part of the problem and keep them on board? Or are you prepared to move on from them if so need be? Remember, cancer in your organization is always going to grow and spread, and there's only one way around it. So if you have a Karen in your organization, I encourage you to reach out to us if you need some help. But also, don't delay. It won't get better without some form of an intervention. Have you had a moment to check out our agency process packs yet? Well, let me tell you, they're full of such great stuff. First of all, they all include how-to videos. So not long, but 5 minutes that'll help walk you through each process. How great to train your team. Next, they all include a workbook with clear steps on how to tackle a process. The one that we want to help you with right now is how to set goals for every role in your agency. So often we get questions of, well, how do we set a goal for a service person? How do we set a sales goal? How do we set a goal for the non-customer facing team? We want to include them. Well, we're going to help you with a full calculator that backs you into what your agency wants to accomplish. We shouldn't be picking goals out of a hat. It should instead be, I want to be X and my retention is Y, and this is what we need to do. We're very clear in our process pack, say that 10 times fast, that not only do you need a goal, but then you need a plan. And once you're clear on where you want to be, you can create that plan. So head over to our shop, look at the agency process packs. We have several in there for your viewing enjoyment, and you buy them outright. This one happens to be $200. Then you have it forever and ever and ever, and you have access to the videos forever. So what are you waiting for? If your agency is struggling with processes, don't recreate the wheel. Let us help you, and you can buy it at your leisure. We hope to see you as an agency process pack client. And if you have any processes that you don't see there, keep checking, they might be in production, or send us a message. We're always looking to add to the process packs. Have a great day. So one common objection that we get when we're trying to install new things into an agency is, well, we have other work to do, Kelly. We can't just do renewal calls all day. We just can't sell insurance all day. And it just proves that for a lot of people, they're thinking, I do these transactions and then I sell if I can. And we're trying to blend those two together. But a common concern is, all this work's coming in, how do I prioritize it? And I have to say, for many agencies, it's not clear, number one, and there's no set progress or program. And that's one of the things I really want everybody to think about is, are we helping and empowering our team with a set list of priorities? Now, you might be thinking everybody at the desk level should be doing that, and sure, they should, but an ER nurse isn't winging it. They're literally going with a set protocol of who comes first, second, and third, and it's not a bad thing to put into your agency. We cover this and more in this video. Hey everyone, it's Kelly Donahue here, and I want to talk about a common theme we see with account managers, which is they get really overwhelmed and stressed out when all the work comes in at once, right? So you've got a customer at a dealership, you have a remarket, and you have a piece of new business, and it's like, what do I do? Now, we always say when it rains, it pours, right? So I'm a firm believer that there is an insurance tidal wave. Comes in waves and it gets easier. Comes in waves and it slows down. But the real deal is that what we need to focus on is our stress level. So yes, it is going to all come in at once. And we're not the only industry that this happens to. In fact, typically it happens in our personal lives as well, right? So what we have to think about is, how do we organize it? So many times, and I want everyone to stop and hear me when I say this, so many times we put undue pressure on ourselves. So it all comes in and our expectation is, oh my gosh, it has to be done right now. Because that's the way we prefer to work. The fear of the unknown, we don't know what's coming ahead, means we want to clear everything off of our desk as quickly and efficiently as possible. But I want to tell you that that's not the great way to work. Instead, what you want to be thinking of is when something comes in, whether from an owner, a producer, a client, a team member, by when do you need this by? And if it's not clear, you need to ask those questions so that you can keep prioritizing. Similar to an ER nurse, there's constantly people coming and going, but everything doesn't always have the same priority. And so you have to know that so you know what to focus on. It shouldn't give you anxiety and pressure, because if you're asking, you'll have clarity on what to do. Now, the fear is, though, if I ask, everybody's going to want it all at the same time. That's going to happen in such a few rare occasions, and then you can just reset people's expectations. If it's internally, you can talk to the producer or manager and say, these are the things that came in, what's the best priority? If it's a client, you can simply say, you know what, because it's going to take me a little longer, could I get back to you tomorrow? Most people are fine as long as there's a clear expectation. But that's the key word. We must set expectations. And you can't live hostage fear of the unknown. Well, how do I know I'm going to get to it tomorrow? When there's a deadline, you'll know. And the things that come in after it, you'll be able to better communicate. But when there is no deadline, you're constantly scrambling, it's way too stressful. And that's not something that anybody wants to put you through. So think of it this way. When everything comes in at the same time, when do you need it by? Start prioritizing and give yourself some grace to have a great day. It can happen. Don't let the stress get to you. You're not the only industry where things come in at the same time. It seems very much more stressful to be an ER nurse than to be in insurance where you have a couple things going on right at the same time. So work and set your expectations. We'll see you in the next video. If you have account managers in your team, you might find that they're burned out, stressed out, kind of negative, running around all the time like the world's on fire. And I get that, because their job is actually quite difficult. It's a lot of expectations. It's a lot of being in the middle between producers and clients and underwriters, and it can be taxing. And so what I want to do is break down for leaders, producers, other team members, what do account managers want and how can we empower them to get that and make the best decisions? There's some work that we can all do on our ends to make their jobs a bit easier and the customer experience more flawless. And we're going to cover that in this video. So this past week, I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of account managers. And it's absolutely interesting to me because they all tend to have the same questions. And what I thought would be helpful is to break down for all the viewers out there, what do account managers actually want? Because account managers, I'm going to be honest with you, typically you present pretty stressed out, overwhelmed, and always running around with your hair on fire. And this can oftentimes confuse and frustrate sometimes agency leadership. So let me try to build a bridge between both parties. One of the things that every account manager wants is priorities. So if an upset client about rate comes in, an endorsement comes in, and a piece of new business comes in, that is one of the things that they're like, what do I do first? All the customers need me. I need to make them all happy. How do I do that? And it can really overwhelm them because the phone keeps ringing and it feels like the avalanche is piling down. And so I really encourage agencies to identify structure and priorities as much as possible. Account managers, a quick tip is just by asking every client by when do you need this by and managing and setting expectations. You rarely miss a deadline, and so when you have them, you're going to work efficiently to get there. The next thing that people want is structure. So how does a day work? What should happen here, 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 and here? And that's not always easy to do in insurance. Now, one of the things I want to get to is the idea is it can be if we organize correctly. So if you use things like time blocking and say, hey, your quiet time is here, because then it allows them to take a retreat and say, okay, I can get back and get organized and have my day a little bit more effective. Now, one thing we found universally that every account manager loves is checklists. And I know it sounds crazy, it's one more thing, but the hard part is there's so many details in insurance day, it's hard to keep them all squared away in your brain. And it's terrible to have to call a client back. No one feels good about that. So with checklists, they can keep on track and have structure and make sure all the details are happening. And it also gives them the idea of what's important to you, how to say things, what to do without having to wing it. Because oftentimes account managers feel so overwhelmed by work coming at them from all angles that they cut corners on maybe confirming contact information or asking for the cross-sell because they're always thinking about the next thing coming in. Excuse me. And lastly, one of the things every account manager, I think people in general want is recognition. It's really easy in a service role for leaders to only see the problems. This file, this file, this file, but we don't always champion the successes. And the persona of most account managers is not to be boastful like a salesperson, be like, just sold something. They're just gonna kind of do it and keep moving along. And so you have to be really intentional about finding the wins, finding the recognition so that you can celebrate successes and not always see the downside. Because many account managers are stretched thin at work, at home, etc. They're just running on to the next problem to solve. When you can stop and recognize them, you see a huge change in attitude. But the idea is you have to kind of put yourself into their shoes and have some empathy for it. Because for 18 years plus, since I've been in insurance, I've heard the same thing. I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. And yet no one has stepped up to the plate to solve that. And so we have to work through and say, well, what's going on? Why are we so busy? And what can we do differently? And when we do that, we start winning. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you next week. All right, everyone, that's what we have for you this week, the last Friday of the first quarter of the whole year. Hopefully you're on track to hit your goals. A good time to check in on that. We have some really exciting stuff coming up for next quarter. So I hope that you continue to listen, stay tuned. Please, if you like our podcast and you're listening to this online, go like it and leave a comment. Also, if you haven't subscribed, you can get these videos as a podcast. So every Friday morning, you can actually listen to them as you're driving into work. You can also find us on YouTube, where we appreciate your likes and follows, and we post them on all of our social media channels. So now's the time, if you like it, to comment, like, tell us something good. And if you have any topics you want us to cover, drop us a note. We'd be happy to add it to the rotation. Have a wonderful Friday, everybody. Is training your insurance team on your mind? If not, it should be. Your team is your largest investment of the agency. And when they aren't trained with the best practices, you're not exactly leading the team the way you should be. Training can be difficult, right? Sometimes people aren't bought in. There's never enough time, and it can be costly. But we've solved that problem here at Agency Performance Partners. We have an online school with sales training, retention training, time management training, how to turn inbound calls into opportunities, and how to reduce remarketing. And we're adding a new course every single quarter. This can be done on your own time, and the videos are generally under 10 minutes. There's workbooks, role-playing videos, scripts. It's super interactive. For many agencies, they pop the video on during their team meeting and then use the discussion questions in the workbook, so you can take your team meetings to the next level. Oh, and did we mention cost? It's only $245 a month. And what that means is your team gets access to the subscription of training and all the trainings we add. Or if you prefer, we have some trainings you can buy outright. But not training your team, there's no excuse, because now we have a solution to an industry-wide problem. You can hop onto our website and look for the Agency Performance Pack, and that will get you there so that way you can go ahead and start training your team. You can get your subscription right on our website and get access to the courses immediately. Each one even includes a manager section, and many of them include setup guides with AMS 360, Hawksoft, QQ Solutions, and Applied Epic. We're consistently updating those training guides as well. So, what's the excuse now? Just go over to our website, get started today. Any questions? Let us know. We're happy to help. But an untrained team is costing you, your clients, time, money, energy, and stifling your growth. So let's tackle that this quarter. Let's get it going. Hopefully, we'll be welcoming you as a new student in our school.